Peace and much love, Zin Uru here. Welcome to the latest installment of Message from the Minister. This week's message is attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. So first of all, let's just start off by saying it's good to see y'all here. So grateful and happy to see you here. You know, from my heart to yours, this weekly Message from the Minister, I just can't say enough how much I appreciate all of you who show up. And there is no such thing as time and space. And across all time and space, no matter when you're seeing this or where you're seeing this from, we are all here together, here in spirit. And in that spirit, this is what I want to talk about tonight. The message from the minister tonight. I'll check the mic cord so I don't step on it. Okay, hold on. The message from the minister tonight is attitude is everything. And wow, what a message from the minister. Like earlier tonight, I was really relaxed and chill. It's been a long week, a really long and busy week. I was feeling kind of tired and exhausted, and I was just chilling out. And I was like, yo, man, I know the message from the minister this week is going to be attitude is everything. I've got some notes prepared. I want to talk about faith. I had my pieces prepared and my pieces together. And then I was like, man, I don't feel like doing this, right? I don't feel like doing message from the minister tonight. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, of course I'm not going to feel like doing it tonight. Why? Because the message tonight is attitude is everything. And something I've learned over the years, and I learned this when I was younger and growing up and, put it to practice, and something that I hope we've all probably experienced this in life when we say attitude is everything, is because that we can actually shift our attitude from one feeling to another, from one state of mind to another. Even the way we hold our body, we can shift our attitude at any time. And so it was funny because I was like, man, maybe I'll just skip this message from the minister number 21. This has been 21 weeks in a row. That's what, 21 days. That's 3 weeks of material if you watched one every day, solid. And I was like, yo, I could take a break, but I haven't really. This is the first day I've ever even thought about this, and I've been tired and exhausted before. But I was in this just real chill, meditative place, and then it was funny because I realized I was like, yo, attitude is everything. Let me switch my attitude about this. And so I say, yo, man, I said inside myself, I was like, yo, we're going to give a dope, we'll give a dope talk this week. We went an hour and 40 minutes last week. We could do a 45-minute talk this week about attitude is everything. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I was just like, I started hyping myself up, so to speak. I started like pushing that energy into me, and all of a sudden, the chemicals of my body started to react to the thoughts I was making myself think. I had disciplined myself into thinking. And see, when we can discipline ourselves into thinking, all of a sudden the being that we are, it becomes effortless. And so I went in, I took my shower, got myself trimmed up, pulled out the fresh, clean clothes, got my fresh kicks on, got the Save One medallion on. Shout out to Save One. Save, I saw this sitting up there on my wall. I have my medallions hanging up on the wall, and I thought, yo, I need to rep Save One because every week, Save One, he shares my message from the minister, comments on it, and I just really wanted to show my appreciation for that. He's a dope MC. We'll put a link below to some of his music, but so attitude is everything, right? So I saw that, I got myself cleaned up, and all this, while I'm doing this, while this process is happening, I just got my phone on, a nice mix that I've made of music, and I'm just taking the shower, and I'm just, all of a sudden, my whole body, my whole energy is getting boosted up. And I haven't eaten anything, I just drank a little water. I haven't, there's no coffee, no caffeine, no anything in me. And I've been going hard all day long, got a new music video up, and I hardly slept a couple of nights because I was in that zone that an artist gets in. And I was just making this music video late, and and I was sleeping and then waking up and wanting to work on the video because I was inspired. So, attitude is everything. So somehow my attitude shifted, and the energy of my body. Like, I've got plenty of energy to get through a message from the minister. I've got plenty of mental, physical energy to get through this message from the minister. We're just 2 hours ago, when I was getting and also I had to set up the studio too because I had moved everything, so I had to reset up the studio. And so attitude is everything. Just a couple hours ago, I'm sitting there with no energy. And here I am after putting 2 hours of work in, study, getting the notes together, putting the lighting up, getting the camera up, getting everything rearranged so it's working in here, taking the shower, getting da-da-da-da-da. And all of a sudden, I still got more energy than I did 2 hours ago. Now, to me, when we talk about attitude is everything, we'll get to the definition real quick. And the definition is going to be from the American Heritage Dictionary, 3rd edition. But attitude is everything. We're going to see that attitude is a mental state. It's a feeling state. It's also a physical state of being. Our body is an attitude. Our body carries an attitude. As a matter of fact, we'll see here in a moment, the very first definition of attitude has to do with our body, how we're holding our body, what's our body language. And also, we've got the way we feel, the way we think, our body language. I would also throw in there our emotional state. Our emotional center when it comes to attitude is everything. Because we'll begin to realize that while we're walking on the path of purpose, that having like an attitude of gratitude for the things that we have in our life helps us not get depressed. We realize that when we have an attitude of perseverance, of I'm going to overcome, of an attitude of willpower, when it comes to putting in the work, putting in the time, putting in the energy, putting in the effort, that attitude really, truly is everything. Because everything is going to be affected by our attitude. We could have a blessing that we prayed for 15 years right in front of our face. And if we have a sour attitude, we might even miss the blessing. Same thing goes for, we can be facing the hardest circumstance we've ever faced, but we have an attitude of courage, and all of a sudden, it's not the hardest situation we ever faced. As a matter of fact, it turns into a situation that we can overcome and grow from and increase our confidence and increase our faith. So we'll see tonight that faith and attitude are very much intertwined, because the faith is the knowing that when we change our attitude, then the outcome is going to actually change. So attitude is everything. Oh man. See, now I'm going to pull it into faith. Okay, so give my mind a second, because I wasn't planning on going into faith, but this is where all the signs were pointing the last couple of days, was bring attitude into faith. And so as we're working here together, and we're all here in this room together, like I'm saying, across time and space, we're all starting to realize that attitude is synonymous with faith. Because when we have an attitude of gratitude, that's our way of showing faith that something is listening. When we have an attitude in a challenging situation and we got to step up to the plate and we go, yo, I could do this, I know, boom. That's faith. Because we're showing confidence in ourselves. We're showing confidence in our abilities. We're showing confidence in who we are. The same thing or it could be lack of faith, like earlier, the 15-year blessing is right there in front of me. I've been praying for this for 15 years, and it's an answered prayer, and I miss the answered prayer because I have a bad attitude, because I have a lack of faith that this is the way that God is presenting God's self to us, or me, right now in this moment. See, so either a lack of faith causes poor attitude, a bad attitude, so to speak, and faith, confidence, actually creates a great and positive attitude that reverberates across all time and space. It's real like that. Our bodies get charged. Where does this charge come from? What is this chi that we're working with, when just the thought, just the right way of thinking creates a chemical reaction, creates a really what it is consciousness going into the water body, creates this chemical reaction, which is really, it's a physics. It's a physics reaction. It's a physical reaction, because remember, attitude is the body. in the body language. It creates this physical reaction that we actually put our chest up a little higher. We actually hold our head up a little higher. We actually think a little deeper. Our focus may get a little more clear. We feel stronger. Just because of the thoughts that we choose, because of the attitude that we choose to have about any given situation in life. So this is very interesting, so I'll put it up here on the screen right now, and we'll see here. Attitude. Definition number 1, a position of the body or manner of carrying oneself. Attitude. Definition 1. Check that out. And this is interesting that this is the first definition of attitude, a position of the body or manner of carrying oneself. Then definition number 2, which is pretty much, I think, what more of we think about when we talk about attitude, a state of mind or feeling, disposition. A state of mind, check that out, it's a state of mind. It's where is the mind? What is the mind doing? Or a feeling, a disposition, like a sunny disposition. That's an attitude. Somebody who has a positive outlook on life. We used to say, oh, she's got a sunny disposition. And that's just somebody who just, always looks for the good, looks for the silver lining, sees the cup is half full, always has that positive attitude that things are going to work out, a sunny disposition. Now, we're going to skip past all the other attitudes because those have to do with navigation. But look at this word right here, too. This is a word that I've never seen before. If I have, I don't remember seeing it. And this is really what we're talking about tonight. Attitudinize, attitudinize, attitudinize. To assume an affected attitude or posture. Attitudinize. To assume an affected attitude or posture. Attitudinize. Attitudinize. To assume, what was it? To assume an affected attitude or posture. So attitudinize means that the body language and the mental language and the feeling language is all in alignment and that they all affect each other. And what's dope about that word was I didn't even know that word existed until I was reading the definition of attitude, and that one kept popping up, and I kept looking at it, and I just kind of kept overlooking at it. I was like, what does this actually mean? Attitudinize. Well, whoa, wait a minute. That's actually what I wanted to talk about. There's an actual definition of it in the dictionary, because that's the whole idea, is that going from not wanting to do the message from the minister, changing my mind about it, changing my attitude, shifting my attitude, and then all of a sudden, the notes came together real quick, found a new word, attitudinize, got everything up and going and running really quickly. Now, I was thinking, what are some stories about attitude? When we have an attitude, because one of the things I want to make sure people don't do with their attitude is don't fake it. A lie is a lie, and it's gonna display itself that way. And what do I mean by that? There's a saying that goes around a lot, and I've never found harmony with this saying called "fake it till you make it." Because I met a lot of fake people in the industry, traveling with the teacher. I've met a lot of fake MCs, well, fake rappers, fake b-boys, fake graffiti artists, fake community leaders, because they're faking it until they're making it. Now remember, we talked about, what does it make it mean? What does make it mean? Truthfully, make it means you're actually making something out of nothing. You're making a cake out of ingredients. You're making, you're making a piece of art out of a canvas and spray paint. You're making a song out of thin air, out of creativity and some instruments and recording devices. That's the making it. You can't fake that until you make it, because then it comes out fake. Like if the ingredients are fake and somebody's putting into energy, fake it till they make it. No, it's never worked. In 48 years of my life, I've been hearing, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. And I've probably said that before. People I love and respect have said that, so I'm not dissing nobody. But we really got to take a look at that fake it till you make it. Because really, attitude is everything. That's the proper key right there. So replace fake it till you make it with attitude is everything. Because attitude is everything. Going out on tour and you're an MC and you grab the mic and you're in front of an audience for the first time and you freeze or you fuck up your rhyme or something doesn't work out the way that you planned it on going or something that you've been practicing all this time, and then that moment's finally here and you don't even know if it's going to be another month or another week until you get that moment again. And all of a sudden you make a mistake and now what happens with those with poor attitude? Who they go back home, they sulk, they watch TV, they go back to sleep and they forget about it, right? They forget about it and then they don't even try hard again. They failed, they accept the failure. But then there's those others who like go back and they get back to home and they're like, oh man, fuck man, oh man, I fucked up tonight. I should have said this. I should have done this. I should have went here. Oh man, I fucked up tonight, man. And check out, watch his attitude. Watch how the attitude shifts. Because that whole fake it till you make it, people start getting into these fake feelings. They start telling themselves, oh, it's okay, you'll have another chance or you'll have another turn, and then they don't really let it burn. And I'll tell you, failure is the greatest lesson. It's like failure is like the only lesson that's going to ever lead to purpose or truth or mastery of anything. It's going to be failure. Okay? Failure is the greatest teacher. So when you have an attitude of gratitude, when you say attitude is everything, and you grab the mic and you slipped and you froze and you fucked up your lyrics and you're off time and blah, 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 all that happens. You go back and you start looking at night, you feel that. You know what I mean? You feel, be like, fuck, I fucked up, man. Ooh. Don't take it out on nobody. Don't take it out on nothing. Just feel it. You know what I mean? Don't express it towards nobody. Okay? I'm teaching you mastery of energy, especially for my dudes out there, for my brothers out there, right? Because we get this testosterone, we got this drive, and I'm not saying the ladies don't have it either. Y'all got it too. But I know as a man, we get this charge of energy, and the fists want to clench up. It's like we're fighting the universe. We're like, oh man, I fucked up, man. Oh man. Feel that, because I've always been told that like you're not supposed to feel like that from spiritual circles, and no. When you feel the pain, that happens at that moment, you don't want it to happen again. And you're not running from the pain that's caused by the moment. You're facing it. You're like, oh man, all right. Now, what I'm going to do next time? See, that affirmation already changes like the whole, morphogenetic field, because now all of a sudden you're acknowledging there is going to be a next time. That's the faith. And the attitude is starting to shift now. It's like, oh man, next time I get that mic in my hand, I'm going to say, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. My name is Zin Uru, means the promised land, because I feel at home wherever I stand. I walk hand in hand with the mighty God. I got my staff, and I got my rod. All of a sudden, you start feeling yourself and you start projecting yourself in the future, and you start practicing and working on your craft and getting ready for that moment. And when that moment comes again, you grab the mic and you kick the rhyme and the crowd cheers. Now, see, this is a different style of teaching than what everybody else is teaching, because everybody's faking it till they make it, right? And there's all these spiritual teachers out there, and there's a lot of them who had faked it till they made it, and they made something, but they've been faking it the whole way. They've been creating a fake way their whole way, and so now their spirituality is fake. It's not spirituality, it's a fakeness, it's an illusion of spirituality. But this is, from the temple of hip-hop, from the gospel of hip-hop, from our teacher KRS-One. Like we're an inner city ministry. We're a suburban ministry. We're an urban ministry. We're a worldwide ministry that's found all over the world in the streets. And opportunities don't always come, or they come very rarely. And so when you fuck up an opportunity, when you mess up an opportunity and you make a mistake, like These are kind of situations where mere mortals get crushed. And I've seen it. I've seen MCs make mistakes and get crushed and never pick up a mic again, or be timid the next time they pick up a mic. You know? I've seen it all the time, but this is a matter of spirit. That's why I was talking about that fake spirituality. Because discipline has to come in. You're feeling upset, you're feeling angry. You can't take that out on nobody. Not a cat, not a dog, not a neighbor, not somebody in traffic, not your partner, not your kids, not your parents, nobody. You can't take that frustration out on nobody. You know, like Alan Watts used to say, you know, next time you're mad at God, you know, just go fight the ocean. Go beat up the ocean. Go punch the ocean. What's the ocean going to do? Like you literally, we can't, like there's nothing your physical body can do to hurt the ocean. Pow, pow, the ocean ain't going to do nothing, right? Like it doesn't, it's going to love it. Like it's like the energy gets to go out and you're having a conversation with the ocean. Same thing with God, like emotionally, right? So all of a sudden, like, I'm telling you, this works. Like, you have to go to the God, and you're like, oh, God, man, that sucked, God. Oh, man, I fucked that up, God. Oh, man, I messed up bad, God. Oh, man, why did you even, oh, man. You know, and you feel that for a minute, and it's like all of a sudden, it's like you're fighting the ocean. You just wear it. The fight is just going to leave your body, and nobody's hurt. Not you, not the ocean, not God. You know, it's like, that's an attitude. That's the attitude that I'm feeling right now at that moment. God, I'm frustrated. That's my attitude. But for the attitude to shift, like earlier, let's go a little more simpler than frustration, right? That's a big one. I was being lazy earlier. I was tired. I didn't really want to do the message from the Minista. And so, you know, I was like, oh man, I don't really want to do it, but I need to do it. And I want to keep this, and I got this attitude is everything. Why is this the first time I'm not feeling it? And I was feeling my way into it. I was moving the ocean water around, and all of a sudden my energy was like started moving, and it kind of left the body, right? It kind of left the body in a really healthy way. And then the body started getting lighter, and then the body started getting more together, and the energy of the body started moving. Now, when we are looking at these definitions here, a position of the body or a manner of carrying oneself as the very first thing. Like, how are you carrying yourself? How are we carrying ourselves in the world? Like when you grab the mic as an MC, are you like this? Now, I've seen this. I've seen dudes who can actually spit with the hoodie down, and they're afraid to look at the audience, right? Okay, and nobody's cheering for them, and nobody's feeling them, and they spend time on that rhyme. They're kicking some crazy knowledge and lyrics, but they're and nobody's feeling that. And then on the flip side of it, I've seen drunk dudes go up there who've probably barely ever done that and go up there off time and be like, hey, da, and then seeing the audience be like, ah, and cheer for them. Attitude is everything. So it's not just about discipline and work and putting your time in and practicing and all of that, which it is. You got to do all of that. But when the time comes and when the performance comes, or when you're you know that thing in your life that you've been working towards is there, what is your attitude? Because there's a lot of distractions that are going to try and distract you from from a proper attitude. You know, back when I was growing up, or when I was first out in the work world, when I was doing retail, I worked at a spot called Service Merchandise, and we had these badges that had our name in. At the back, it was like smile, make eye contact, talk to the person directly. This whole thing about customer service was first, right? And that was the attitude of the place I worked. You know, customer service, attitude is everything. And that's how you increase sales. Your attitude helps you increase sales if you're a businessman or woman. Your attitude helps, it really helps everybody in your environment have a good attitude about things. And now I go out and I'm like, I'm shocked, like when I go out shopping now, because I'm like the old guy shaking his fist. Back in the day when I was a kid growing up, we had proper customer service, you know. And it used to be that way. You'd call up a company and they'd be like, oh, we're glad to assist you today. Thank you. And they wouldn't argue with you and talk over you and try and tell you that you're wrong and da. You know, and I go out today and it's like customer service. Like these companies, they know they got everybody's dollar because they've squashed all the competition. You know, maybe at good restaurants, you'll see that people, you know, you go to a good restaurant or a nice restaurant, a family-owned restaurant. It doesn't have to be a real expensive one, but just like a family-owned restaurant. Their attitude is dope there. Their attitude is better. But when you go to a Walmart to get what used to be like 15 stores in the neighborhood, you know, is all inside one Walmart now. Like their attitude is, we're going to make $1 million today anyway, so what do we fucking care? And there's just a bunch of kids sitting around there with their vests on, staring at the ground, don't want to help nobody, you know, don't want to know anything, you know. And it's like, whoa, man, like there's no customer service there anymore. Or, you know, you call up Sprint or somebody and they messed up on your phone bill, but they're like talking over you and they're the ones messing up. And they're the ones with the attitude, they got this bad attitude towards you. And it's like, wait, where did customer service go? But, you know, I grew up in a time, and most of us grew up in a time where, like, the way you carried yourself out in public actually had consequences, right? But now everybody's out online, and they got this false illusion that they could just say anything and do anything online, and there's really no consequences to it. And then they go out in the world, and all of a sudden they people will act up and like little skinny kid like ran up on this other dude a few weeks ago, pulled out in front of him in the car, and the kid starts honking. This little skinny guy's like cursing the dude. He's like, "Fuck you, motherfucker!" And the dude jumps out of his car like, "Yo, what's up?" And the kid was like, "Oh man." You know, and I was like, yo, you can't just be flipping off people and going crazy like that, dude. Like, because like where we grow up, like where that dude grew up, he was an OG, you know, like there was consequences for people's bad attitudes and consequences for the way people acted and consequences for the way that people behaved. Look at the attitude of the United States government right now. I mean, they're insane. They're out of their mind because there's been no consequences for their actions. They're not suffering any consequences because something about the internet has made people actually think that there's no consequences for their attitude, for their actions, for their behavior, for the way they're carrying themselves, and for what they say and do. Well, let me tell you, there is such a thing as karma. And there is such a thing as universal law. And so all of this is going on in the world. All these people ripping people off and stealing and lying, and that's their attitude. That's everything. Like, I was talking to a woman on the phone about a bill, and I was like, you guys are lying and deceiving old people on purpose. She goes, we don't see it that way. Not, no, sir, you're wrong. Not, hold on, I think you got us misunderstood. We're sorry you see it that way. Oh, no, we don't see it that way. We see this as, and I was like, yo, that's a poor attitude to have. So when I'm talking about attitude, I want to stress this to my nobility out there, because your life will be enhanced. It doesn't matter if only 8% of people have a good attitude in life. Join in with those 8% of people with a good and positive, and there's a lot more, positive attitude, and you'll vibrate at that frequency to those people who do got a good vibe and a good attitude. And like I said, it ain't fake it till you make it. You got to get pissed off sometimes. Sometimes you're feeling it and you're just like, yo, man, this don't feel right. You know, they say even Jesus had a righteous anger, you know, and he turned the tables of the money changers over in the temple. It was like, get out of my Father's house, quit selling stuff here. This is the palace of worship and prayer and healing. We don't need your trinkets, get out, you know. That's an attitude, and that's a positive attitude that actually directed change there. So don't get into this fluffy fake spirituality these guys who faked it till they make it and they haven't had real spiritual experiences with this. I'll tell you, you know when you need your spirituality the most? when that anger comes, that righteous anger comes, when that purifier comes, when that energy comes, and when that charge comes, that's when you need to have a proper attitude right there. You need to be aware of your attitude, right? And have the attitude like, yo, I'm a master of this. This energy right here, all it's done is made me stronger. All it's done is made me more focused. All it's done is made me more clear and more forgiving. But I see my environment right now, and no, I'm not putting up with this. It's not going down this way. You feel me? That's an attitude right there. That's having a real attitude. So this isn't about, attitude is everything. Like literally attitude is everything. That's exactly what it's about. I was going to say it's not about fake it till you make it and have a fake attitude. It's about embracing the attitude in the moment that you have and then examining that attitude and then getting into the mind space, because what it says right here in definition number 2 is a state of mind or feeling, because the state of mind actually, all of a sudden the state of mind starts moving around and saying, yo, wait a minute, I'm going to do this message from the minister tonight, and then all of a sudden a feeling goes, oh yeah, and all of a sudden the charge comes up and then the feeling's here, and then all of a sudden it happens. This is how we shift ourselves. This is that attitude. This is how important. This is why I say attitude is everything. We used to teach this in jiu-jitsu to the kids, like attitude is everything. Like I talk about this little kid, man. This little kid, he came in one time, right? And his parents were saying that he was getting picked on at school, right? And I was like, oh, okay, all right, little guy, come on, man, let's do some stuff. And he sat there and he wouldn't look me in the eye, and his name was Timmy, and he's like, oh, my name's Timmy, and he was like this and stuff. And I don't know, a couple weeks went by, and then we had the heavy bag. We'd hold it down. It was like as tall as the kids. It was kind of cool. We'd hold the heavy bag down, right? And this kid Timmy comes up, and the girl right before him, she was bad, dude. She's like, pap, 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 pap. And she's hitting this bag, and we're just like, dang, man. And so little Timmy, he has to come up after that, right? And he's got to hit that bag. And he comes up, and he's like, pff, and he goes like this with his wrist, and he goes, ow. And I was like, dude, you can't throw a punch like that. That's not how you hit the bag, And so we lined him up, and then we showed him how to do the punch and how to draw the power in, and all of a sudden he went, pop. Oh, he hit the bag, and he's like, oh, boom, 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 and he just kept hitting the bag, and all of a sudden his whole body went, whoop, and then he ran through the back of the line. He was like sitting in the back of the line like this. We're talking in just a few minutes, this kid had an alchemical change of spirit, of nature, of chemistry, of physics, all these things going on in his body because he learned how to punch a punching bag. He went from this to this guy to this guy in just a matter of minutes. And the reason I brought that up is because our sensei, he had up on the wall, said, attitude is everything. And that was the lesson, especially in the kids class and the adult class, because attitude is everything. You've got to have a good attitude about what you're doing and where you're going, about who you are at every minute. Even when you wake up and you're feeling crabby, even when you're feeling down and out and just like depressed and like, yo. No, attitude is everything, because your attitude can shift at any moment. The attitude can shift, and get into that right attitude anywhere and for anything. If you need a job, get into the attitude that I got a job, man. Oh, that interview didn't go right, but the next time that interview comes, oh, I'm going to nail it. You have an attitude with a partner, like, oh man, oh, we broke up, oh, it's another failed relationship. What am I gonna do? Oh, I'm worthless. I can't find nobody loves me. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, oh man, I fucked up another relationship. Oh, I got in another oh man, what if but you know what? Oh man, the next one, oh man, and then all of a sudden the body language changes, the electromagnetic energy changes, all of a sudden the morphogenetic field changes, and all of a sudden more opportunities come to us based on our attitude, okay? Based on the way we carry our body, based on the state of our mind, based on the state of our feeling, which gets into our emotions as well. We feel our emotions, right? And then we emote our feelings. We feel our emotions and we emote our feelings. I'm feeling excited, right? And then I'm feeling excited, or my emotions are excited. I'm feeling that excitement. What are you putting out in the universe? What are you putting out in God? What are you putting out in the water that's all around us? What are you putting out in this ocean? Reminds me of, there's an old Zen koan, which is like a Zen story that this to teach, and it's like the professor fish and the student fish. They're swimming in the water. They're swimming in the ocean, right? And the student fish, he's swimming next to the professor fish, and he says, "Professor, what is this ocean you keep speaking of?" And you know, that's the proper attitude to have of both of those when we're dealing with these supernatural metaphysics. What is this morphogenetic field? What is this God force? What is this water body? What is it that we're actually talking about here? We're swimming in this ocean, okay? This is an ocean all around us that we're swimming in. And our body is vibrating through that water a frequency. It's going to either attract certain things to us and repel other things as well. So what is it that your attitude is bringing in? What is it the way that you're feeling? What is it the way that you're moving? What is that bringing in? And what is it keeping out? It's probably bringing in some things you like and some things you don't like. Because that's the dance of life as we're perfecting ourselves. There's no final judgment for the one who seeks perfection. So how are we perfecting ourselves? I want to get to a little bit of reading on faith tonight. And, this just gets a little more into what we're talking about here. This is U.S. Anderson, 3 Magic Words. And because remember, the attitude and faith and how closely faith and attitude are brought together. And we're going to see that in these readings. And we're going to read from the Gospel of Hip Hop too. And this little excerpt here, it's just a few paragraphs long, 5 paragraphs long, called Rising Above Circumstance by U.S. Anderson. This was written back in the 1930s, I want to say. Yeah, I believe. 1950s, 1954. U.S. Anderson, Rising Above Circumstance. The world is too much with us, and we think far too much. In the process of our 30-day mental diet, now this part of the book right here, he's got a 30-day mental diet outlined in the book under the faith section. We must learn to slow the stream of our thoughts, and we must learn to deny the final reality of the physical world about us. The first of these aims may be accomplished by a simple breathing exercise and meditation. The latter is far more difficult. So what he's saying is, through simple breathing and meditation, you can slow down the stream of our thoughts. But we also must learn to deny the final reality of the physical world about us. The final reality of the physical world about us, that's the later, and that's what he's saying is far more difficult, and that's what he's going to talk about here. It is a fine thing to awake in the morning full of the exaltation of a vision that has come to us in the night, to arise from bed full of vague remembrance of a brilliance and peace that surpassed everything. We are uplifted, quickened with new faith and new resolve. For a few minutes, we are nearly convinced that we have found the way. But how easily we let go of our faith, and how stupidly. So he's saying, you wake up in the morning and with that vision, and you got, wake up from this vision you've had at the night, or he's woke up with this vision and he's ready to go. And he's saying people are getting ready to go, and they're uplifted and they're quickened with this new faith and resolve. And for a few minutes, they just feel nearly convinced that it's going to happen. And then how easily they let go of that faith. And I love this line right here, and how stupidly. Let's look at our own stupidity at times, okay? Let's not be afraid of our stupidity. Let's overcome it. There was a spot on the suit we had decided to wear, or our best dress has sprung a seam. The toaster isn't working properly and our toast is burned. We spill our milk or our coffee, or somebody else does. The car doesn't start, or we miss our bus. We receive a financial slight on the street. we receive a fancied slight on the street. It is a bad day. Nothing ever seems to go right for us. The vision is long gone, and we seem to be little ants in a limitless universe, hemmed in on all sides by destructive and malicious forces. And by designing and praying beings, we are angry and resentful. Thus we are victimized. Thus we deny the magnificent indwelling self. Thus we are prompting the universal subconscious mind to those very directions we do not wish to go. Thus, because we have accepted the physical world about us as having a higher reality than the world that exists only in mind, we have become pawns in a game of physical fate over which we have no control. And see, he's saying there, we wake up, we have this vision, and this can go for any time in life. It's not just like you wake up in the morning. Any time you awaken inside yourself with a vision, and then all of a sudden a little slight on your way to work, or this happens, or you get tired, or somebody does something, or the toast burns, or you read something you don't like on Facebook, or something like that. How stupid is that to throw off your vision? Because what's happening is that's giving the outer environment dominion over the inner self, when it's literally the inner self has dominion over the outer environment. And then people become the victim in that way, and that's what happens with the victimhood there. Because when you're no longer feel like a victim, you don't get victimized, you don't attract it into you. I say that often. I was like 90 pounds. I was like 89 pounds when I was in 8th grade or 7th grade, right? And I fought back. I fought back. I didn't let nobody pick on me, but I'd still get picked on, right? Kids would want to start fights. I'd get in fights in school and this, that, and the other. And the kids, I'd be pushing back against the older kids, and they'd still be pushing me around, right? And so, after I took karate for 2 months, I never got in fights again. I literally never got in a fight again. I'm learning to fight, and I never even got in a fight again at school. I had a couple scraps, but that was outside of school. But the thing is, all of a sudden, I'm walking in a different way, just like that kid. Okay. And this is why attitude is everything, because we don't walk around as a victim of the outside circumstances, or we don't even walk around as a victim of our internal circumstances, because when we have dominion over our inner selves, we have dominion over our outer selves, over our outer environment. So when you're walking around and you're not a victim, and all of a sudden I went from having to defend myself to learning self-defense, and nobody ever picked on me again. I was walking around with my head up. I just wasn't attracting that kind of lesson to me any longer. That was a lesson about standing up for yourself against bullies, which I would push back, but this was a lesson about, no, it's something deeper that you're doing. You're getting picked on because you're walking around like a little victim. That's why I was getting picked on all the time, because I walk around like a little victim. I thought, I'm only 89 pounds. I'm skinny. I'm smaller than the other kids. I was a late bloomer, they called it. But then all of a sudden, like even before I started growing and my muscles started filling in and my voice started deepening and all that, I had already started taking karate, which just happened to coincide with that same process. But in the beginning, I was walking around this little skinny kid, not getting picked on anymore, right? I'm walking around school, and I remember this one kid who used to always fuck with me all the time, right? And he said to me, he goes, so you know karate now? I go, yeah. He goes, I bet I could still kick your ass. I go, I don't know, we'd have to see. And that was it. He goes, I'm just playing with you. And then that was it. It was done, right? And this is where we say attitude is everything, and this is what U.S. Anderson is saying right here. See, you go out in your day and you have the vision and whatever's happening to somebody or your environment picks on you. Oh, no. Oh, man, my toast is burnt. I'll make another one. Or my toast is burnt. Maybe I didn't need to have that bread in the morning. Maybe it's something else. Go grab an apple. Or, my car doesn't start. Well, Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe this is God's way of showing you to slow down right now in that movement. And so change the attitude. Oh, I'm going to be late for work. Or I'm going to be late for work, but like I can't help it. My car doesn't start right now. Instead, this car, an attitude of gratitude. You say, hey, I'm thankful I have a car, because there's a lot of people who don't even have a car to break down. See, attitude changes everything, because what happens is, attitude being everything, is you no longer become the victim. You don't have the attitude of victimhood. Therefore, you don't attract to yourself those victim mentalities that are coming in. It matters not whence the thought comes, whether it filters to your consciousness in the silence of your bedroom, or whether it comes to you in the clatter of a busy workday world. If you accept it, then it becomes a part of you and will be added to you in the physical world. So he's saying it doesn't matter how the thought comes. If you take it on, it will become manifest in the physical world. Thus you are continually accepting premises and convictions that are forced upon you by the circumstances and the people and the events you meet, even though they are often very contrary to what you really desire. It is this we mean when we say the world is too much with us. Judge not by appearances, said Jesus. If you would win your way to the manifestation of those things that are your goals, you must not be swayed from your conviction and faith by any of the events or circumstances you meet in your daily life. Whatever is contrary to your belief, you must reject as not having reality, as being only a temporary thing, a detour on the road you follow. Not a setback at all, but a necessary path to follow. Now look at that. He's saying, don't look at it as a setback, but to look at it as a necessary path to follow. For the whole plan rests in universal mind, and though it may seem at the moment to be going against your desires, have no fear. We will accept from the thought things in the world around us. Let's pause there for a moment. This is another important lesson, because on the path that we're going, on the path of our purpose, these things are going to come to us that seem contradictory to our purpose, are going to seem contradictory to what we had planned out and what we thought out and what we sought out. But when we have that attitude, we have that right attitude about it, we see that this is just another step on the path. It's not a setback, it's something to overcome. It's not an obstacle, it's an opportunity. And this is why so many people don't live their purposes in life, because it's too hard. They don't have the right attitude about it. It's too hard for them. Because they hit those setbacks and then they give up. Right? And I'm talking about when you really know you want to go do something and you really got a vision for yourself. I can't tell you how many setbacks I've had and how much the environment pushed against me as I came forward as Minister Zin Uru, as a student of the teachers. Look at the tone of my skin. You don't think that people looked at me and was like, what the heck is he doing with KRS-One? Who is he to say he's the minister of hip-hop? He is hip-hop. He can teach hip-hop. He's a cultural ambassador of hip-hop. Oh, what does he know? Who is he to say this about spirituality and talk about race like this? Who is he to talk about Martin Luther King? Who is he to talk about Malcolm X and Kwame Ture and Bob Marley? Who is he to talk about Bruce Lee? No, who am I? I'm Zin Uru. I'm Minister Zin Uru. That's who I am. I am hip-hop. I know who I am. I know what I'm about. That's my attitude, because that's my reality. I knew that was coming, but I didn't know the way that it was going to be coming. I didn't know how many people was going to be working against me, and still to this day. But I couldn't care. I couldn't care. I couldn't give them any power. I couldn't do it because I know that they weren't reality. I know the reality that's living inside myself, and that had to spring forward. That had a hip hop, I had a hip to my hop. I had a hop to my hip, I'd be a hip to my hop. I had a hop to my hip, because what happens is I had this knowing and this awareness, and I had to move on that awareness. And so of course I was going to, hit resistance. So of course you're going to hit resistance when you go out in the world, but have the right attitude. What is your reality of the internal person? Your thoughts and your feelings, and that's going to affect how your body moves, the words that you speak, and the things that you attract to yourself, as well as those things that you repel. This is the key right here. Now watch what he says here. We will accept from the thought things in the world around us only those which add to our faith and our conviction in the goals we have set for ourselves. All other thought things we reject as being only temporary and lacking final reality. Thus, in the inner recesses of our beings, we maintain a place of quiet assurance and contemplation, steadfast always in our knowledge that our faith will become manifest in our lives. It is then we who set the temper of our thoughts. It is then we who achieve mastery over our fates. Our positions are unassailable. We create from within and are never victims of circumstance. That's the attitude right there. You're never a victim of circumstance. Don't ever be a victim of circumstance. Have an attitude and walk with confidence. Confidence. It's my confidence. Go forward in that with your faith in yourself and with your faith in your God. And then when those oppositions, those obstacles come at you, realize that those obstacles and that opposition is just an affirmation that you are on the path of your mastery, that you are on the correct path of your purpose. We'll get into performed faith now in closing, and I'm going to jump right to performed faith. I usually have a little bit in between each reading, but it's just important because we're seeing that the faith and attitude, we're seeing it's like how closely they are and how they're blending together here. Because I have faith in myself, I have a good attitude about things. I have faith that my attitude is going to change my environment. I have faith that I'm going to think better thoughts. I have faith that I'm going to, it's confidence. Faith and confidence are the same thing. That's that attitude. Don't fake it till you make it. Faith it till you make it. Faith it as you make it. Faith it as you create it. Faith it as you create it. Faith it as you create it. Not fake it till you make it. It's faith it as you create it. Because faith is confidence. Just like that little kid when he punched that punching bag, and he had, when he was little, but once he got his confidence up, he got his faith up, his attitude changed. And he walked taller. He wasn't a victim anymore. His parents told me, and this was a little guy, he was like 9 getting picked on at school. And he stopped getting picked on. They said, all we could say is this is the best thing that's ever happened to him. Because he went to a few martial arts classes, nobody started picking on him. He didn't get in any fights. Because we taught the kids, like, you don't go out and use this, you only use this in self-defense, and you get out of there. You go let your teacher know or whatever, Because these are little kids, you can't be teaching little kids jujitsu and then have go, breaking some kid at school. Like they're not allowed to fight like that. But for those kids, we already know because they already carry themselves in a certain way. They don't get picked on because their confidence, their faith, their attitude has changed. So let's put our reading tonight up here on the screen from Performed Faith. This is the third overstanding in the Gospel of Hip Hop, the Divine for Performance, written by the teacher KRS-One for the Temple of Hip Hop, page 170, Divine Performance number 9, Performed Faith. Demonstrate your faith. Do not live exclusively by your natural reasoning or believe exclusively what your senses tell you. Live by faith. Faith is just not a belief in unseen things. It is an unconditional confirmation of the finished work. It is a knowing or expectancy that comes from living a spiritual and virtuous life. Faith is not an invisible thing. It is a very visible thing. It has physical effects. In fact, faith is the invisible substance of visible things. Read that again. That's a t-shirt right there. In fact, this right here is the t-shirt. Faith is the invisible substance of visible things. Faith is simply what you perceive as real. Is God real to you? Are God's abilities real to you? Whatever you believe your God can actually do shall be done. Because of unrighteous and non-spiritual living, if you do not truly perceive your spirit abilities and the strength of your God, then it is your own doubt that weakens the supernatural abilities of your own spirit over the material world. Live a virtuous life, and every month do something or say something that requires faith. Practice faith. Expect results. Expect those results, my nobility. Expect them. As an example, as simple and as easy as it is to faithfully order food from a restaurant, you should likewise faithfully order health, love, awareness, and or wealth from the universe. In this example, the universe is the restaurant. When you know that you have money to eat, you effortlessly and confidently enter the restaurant, sit down, and order whatever you have a taste for. Such is the same with spiritual living. When you know that you have an abundance of spiritual money, faith, the effects of righteousness, virtuous living, helpfulness, patience, etc., you boldly order from the universe those things that you need. Now pause there for a second. See, when you start living that righteous life, when you start doing those things that are in your character and that you know, when you start going around and having that attitude, you go to the universe with the attitude like, hey, universe, yo, I'd like to order this right now from the universe. I'd like to order that new car, or I'd like to order health, love, awareness, and wealth. Health, love, awareness, and wealth. Yeah, have a healthy attitude. Have a wealthy attitude. Have an attitude of awareness. Have an attitude of love, a loving attitude. How do you order something from the universe? You don't, waiter, come here. No, the universe isn't at your beck and call like that. It's a vibrational frequency that you're putting out. So my attitude, I have a loving attitude. I'm going to vibrate love, and it's going to vibrate back to me eventually. Remember, there's still going to be obstacles on the path, okay? I have an attitude of wealthiness. Sooner or later, you keep that attitude of wealthiness, the wealth is going to start vibrating back to you, start coming back to you. That's the faith. The faith is that time, that between and that knowing. I'm wealthy. Comes back, you're broke. No, I'm wealthy. You're broke. No, I'm wealthy. You're broke. I'm wealthy. You're wealthy. I'm wealthy. That's how it goes out. So there's going to be some resistance at first, because that's going to strengthen the mind, that's going to strengthen the feeling, that's going to strengthen your soul and your spirit to only accept that reality that it's presenting to you, not the way that the world is doing it. So when those obstacles come, that's part of the order too. That's how you order the universe. And order, you're not ordering something around, you're ordering it, putting it in order. Health, love, awareness, and wealth. That's the thing about the so-called law of attraction. People just use it to get things. It's what caused the housing crisis, I believe, when in California after The Secret came out. Everybody saw the DVD, The Secret, and everybody went out and bought cars and houses that were beyond their means. Because the law of attraction isn't about just attracting physical things. Yeah, it's fun for kids to do that. But as an adult, you should be looking for adult things, healthy relationships, loving relationships, wealthy business ventures, wealthy living. Just as easily as you might order a beer from a bar with the confidence that comes from righteous living, order for yourself peace and prosperity with the same expectancy. Point to the unseen and translate the unheard. Practice exercising your faith by ordering things in faith. Temple members are united in the faith that hip-hop is God's response to our suffering. Our faith as hip-hoppers is established through our trust in the divinity of our unique historical experiences. What an attitude to walk around with, Temple members. Hip-hop is God's response to our suffering. Hip-hop is God's response to our suffering. It works. I've said that a billion times, millions, I don't know, thousands of times. Hip-hop is God's response to our suffering. That's my attitude. I know it, and it reverberates back. Walk around with that attitude, hip-hopper. At the heights of our faith, knowing, we believe that our God has called a new nation into being, and we are they who are called of God. We are a new people, a truly free people. We are not subjected to the blessings, curses, or prophecies of other nations in faith. God is dealing with us right now. Today, we are a wholly integrated people having omnipresent power. The truly attuned hip-hopper performs and walks in this faith, knowing. Those who walk in this faith and both regularly and randomly perform acts of this faith are truly inspired and rarely depressed. They are joyous and strong, while others remain anxious and weak. This is attitude right there. See the attitude? The attitude of being joyous and strong as opposed to the attitude of being anxious and weak. What's your attitude? Attitude is everything. If you're joyous and strong, that's what you will experience. If you're anxious and weak, that's what they will experience. They are at peace even when others are afraid. These are the effects of faith. Are you at peace even when others are afraid? The New World Order is here, and I have never been deeper in my peace than I have in this moment. I'm watching it all unfold right now. I see the prophecies being fulfilled, but we're not subject to those prophecies. No, because we are the living tree of life. We are hip-hop. So while others are living in fear, we're in our faith. I'm at peace. I've read everything from Behold the Pale Horse, all the David Icke, I've seen it all, read every conspiracy theory there is about the New World Order, about all the commissions, about the Antichrist, about just all the craziest, darkest stuff you can imagine. They're making it public all the time. But now that day, and now that they're making their push, and they're really pushing hard for this, like there is literally no fear. It's like my peace gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Because I don't accept the reality. That's not their reality. We don't accept that. And if just one of us doesn't accept it, it will fail. I was thinking about this today. This is hilarious about the so-called New World Order. If God can't get God's own children to listen and follow and behave, how is the New World Order going to do what God hasn't been able to do with us as humans? The truly attuned hip-hopper performs and walks in this faith, knowing. Those who walk in this faith and both regularly and randomly perform acts of this faith are truly inspired and rarely depressed. They are joyous and strong, while others remain anxious and weak. They are at peace even when others are afraid. These are the effects of faith. For God is an exact God. Those who live by faith need not an abundance of anything. They always have exactly what they need, exactly when they need it. Pay attention, hip-hopper. I'm going to read that again. Those who live by faith need not an abundance of anything. They always have exactly what they need, exactly when they need it. In fact, this is the abundance. Never too soon, never too late, never too much, and never too little. The faithful always have exactly enough. Faith and the knowing that comes from righteous living eliminate fear and doubt. And likewise, fear and doubt caused by ignorance and unrighteous living eliminate faith. Decide right now which of the two you shall serve, fear or faith, doubting or knowing, surviving or living. Practice faith by performing random acts of faith. In troubling situations, be still and know that your God is God. Store up your spiritual money, faith, in righteous, virtuous living, and then order whatever you need from the universe. Immerse yourself in something that your God must follow up on and complete. Believe in your God. Expect the presence, power, and activity of your God. Believe God, not the world. Regularly perform, and that right there, believe God, not the world. That's another t-shirt. Believe God, not the world. Regularly perform faith. Accumulate and then spend your spiritual faith money wisely. Bruce Barton reminds us that the ablest men in all walks of life are men of faith. Most of them have much more faith than they themselves realize. Perform faith. And I'll tell you, you have much more faith than you realize. I know because I have much more faith than I realize and that I have realized in the past. Have an attitude of gratitude. Have an attitude of faith. Have an attitude of belief. Have an attitude of empowerment. Have an attitude of overcoming. Have an attitude of perfection. See the finished work. See yourself as the finished work of art you are. And accept nothing that the outside world, praise or criticism, can set you back. Okay? When you're on the path, on this path, even praise can weaken somebody. Too much praise makes people weak. Okay? So don't listen to too much praise or too much criticism. Criticism makes people strong and praise makes people weak. Keep them both at a safe distance. Be aware of what your critics are saying. It's okay. Just don't take it personal. Don't take it on yourself. Be aware of what everybody's saying good about you. Be aware of it, but don't take it on yourself. Because it softens people. It kind of kills the drive, you know. That's why I say I've seen dope MCs who just fell off because they got so much praise and they didn't really get all the criticism. They didn't hit those obstacles, and they were weak when it came time to actually be who they say they are. So I'm grateful, you know, my attitude of gratitude is I'm grateful for all the setbacks, all the heartaches, all the breakups, all the dark times, all of that. I'm grateful for all of that. That's my attitude always. I'm grateful for everything that happened to me in my life that I did to myself or somebody did to me, because I'm not a victim. Nobody really did anything because I've been empowered through it. Therefore, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the haters. I'm grateful for all those who came at me and criticized me and said anything. I'm grateful for that. I'm truly grateful for that. I have that attitude of gratitude because I know that it was all to get me where I needed to be. And it's the same with you, all the haters and doubters in your life. They're there to empower you, to get you where you need to be on the path of your purpose and fulfilling your purpose. So when you change your attitude about obstacles in your life, all of a sudden the obstacles begin changing for you. You begin transforming subjects and objects in your environment. We talked about this last week. This is what's building off of last week. Attitude is everything. If you have a poor attitude, everything's going to be poor. If you have a wealthy attitude, everything's going to be wealthy, no matter how much money you may or may not have. There's plenty of people with lots of money, rich people, who are poor spirits and poor mentally, and they're poor attitude. And there are plenty of people who have no money, who have wealthy attitudes and are wealthy in spirit. Isn't it funny how it works out like that? Now, I'm not advocating and saying that you got to be broke to have a wealthy spirit. We don't teach that. get your money, get you those things that you need. But I'm also saying that, like, what is more important, the money or your purpose? Don't leave this world without fulfilling and working for your purpose in life. Don't, like, once again, how valuable is your life? There's no value, you can't place, there's nothing that can pay for a life, but yet people sell their lives out every day. People go to fight wars for a paycheck and die before they even got to spend the measly money they were getting for that paycheck. Not just physical wars, all kind of wars. Out in the workforce, out in the world, the dog-eat-dog world, and all of that corporate-sponsored bullshit out there. The world will suck some. The world is a vampire. The Babylon system is the vampire, sucking the children day by day. Don't let, you know what? My attitude is, I am the vampire slayer. Babylon, you got to take that attitude. My attitude is, I am the living Christ and the light of the world. My attitude is, I am hip-hop. What? I am hip-hop. I am hip-hop. That's my attitude. The vampire can't come near the light. I'll burn him to death with just like that. Like they can't even get near me like that. And what are the vampires? The vampires are people's poisoned arrows that they're throwing at you mental and psychically and emotionally, and the words that they throw at you. Be invincible to all of that. It takes a minute, it takes a while, a gradual process, but become invincible to all of that. My attitude is I'm immortal. My attitude is I'm invincible. That's what I'm saying. Say that. Say it. Say like, oh man, my attitude is weak right now, and I ain't a weakling. Oh man, my attitude is I'm invincible. What? Attitude is everything. How you feel, how you feel about yourself, what you think about yourself, how you carry yourself, all of that is attitude. Attitudinize. What was the word? We'll close on that. Attitudinize. Attitudinize, to assume an affected attitude or posture. Attitude is everything. Attitudinize yourself. Attitudinize, attitudinize, attitudinize. Attitudinize. Attitudinize yourself. Attitudinize yourself. Assume the posture that you know you are worthy of carrying. Assume that feeling. Assume those thoughts. And instantly, with just a few minutes, everything will change around you and your opportunities will open back up. And when you fall down, get yourself up. You've been knocked down, get yourself out. Get yourself up. You've been shot down, get yourself up. Get yourself up. If you stumble along the way, get yourself up. Dust yourself off. Yo, man, that just made me stronger. That just made me stronger. That's the attitude. Attitudinize yourself. My nobility, peace and so much love to you. And there it is.